So good morning. If you want to sit on your little blanket with a triangle end to get started. So we're going to sit for a minute, and if your knees don't feel like they're close enough to the ground, sit on two blankets or sit on a block, get a little bit higher. So I want you to do what's comfortable for you. And today I thought we'd just slow down. I love fall. It's my favorite time of year. And part of what I like about it is it feels like you actually need to slow down. There's not as much sunshine. The leaves, just kind of turn color and fall. I don't know. I love the weather. I love how it gets warm in the day and cool at night. And this practice is all about that, just slowing down and just noticing all of the beauty that's around you all the time. And I thought we'd start with a little pranayama, which is breath work. We haven't done that for a while. So I'm going to have you just bring your right hand up, and your thumb and your ring finger are going to use to close off your nostrils. And here's how it's going to start. You're going to take a deep breath in through both nostrils. And then you're going to close off your right nostril and partially close off the left nostril as you exhale out of that. And then inhale through both nostrils again. And now alternate. So close off the left nostril, partially close off the right, to exhale. Breathe in through both. Close off right, partially close off left to exhale. And just close your eyes and keep going like that. This is designed to just slow down the exhalation, slow down everything. So take 2 more complete breaths like that. When I mean complete, I mean using both sides. So for me, that's 1 more on each side. And then just go back to a regular breath. And notice how that regular breath has changed a little bit. It's just slowed down somewhat. You're more mindful of the breath. And then please bring hands to heart center. May we be mindful and slow down in all aspects of our life today, not just yoga, so that we can take time to really notice the subtleties, the beauty, the grace that's all around us and within us. And please lower your hands, open your eyes. We're going to start with that little belt. So I'm gonna have you, let me move this and move stuff out of the way so you can see, but you're gonna lie on your back and bring the belt right under your lumbar spine. So the biggest part of the curve in your lumbar is where I want you to find the belt. And bring your feet close together so that your legs can kind of be close together. And we're gonna do a little bit of a cat-cow here, but just right where that belt is, right in the highest part of the lumbar spine. So it's not like you're gonna have all this action going. It's gonna be very subtle. So try it. So try and press into that belt. Just very subtle, nothing else should move. And then push away a little bit, just right there, that one segment. If you squeeze your legs and feet and feel active feet, it'll help. So just alternate like that, just really subtle. Trying to really locate that one segment. You'll notice that there's not a lot of movement in my body. You won't see a lot of movement. I'm just trying to really isolate that one segment. Good, now next time you press into it, hold, and very, very subtly, see if you can keep that feeling of pressing into it and let the knees kind of rock to the right side. It's very subtle, just a couple inches for you to be able to keep that connection. And then relax, come back to the middle. And then find it again, press into that belt and very subtly bring the knees to the left this time. This is so very, my knees are only moving an inch or two for me to be able to keep this. And then come back to the middle, relax. Now just move the belt one direction or the other. I'm going to move mine up slightly so that I can isolate that spot now and do it again. So think, I'm going to press into the belt. I activate my legs and my feet. And then I cow away from it. It's very subtle. Try it one more time. Isolate that segment. This is a lot of really interesting work, I think. And next time you're pressing into it, isolating just that segment, hold and bring your knees slightly to the right. And then come back to center, relax. And then press into it again and slightly to the left. It's just very kind of identifying different parts of the body. Relax. Good, now I'm going to have you reach down and bring that up to your thoracic spine. So right in the middle of the thoracic spine. And then bring your hands up above you, palms together. And this is going to be the work. You're going to still keep your legs active, but you're just going to use the upper body to press into that. So I'm going to tuck my chin, and I'm going to lift to really press into that. See if you can isolate that spot where the belt is. And relax. And then do it two more times. Just think, tuck chin. Use the strength of your thoracic muscles to press into it and lift. Try not to move anything in the low back. And relax. And then one more time, isolating just that spot, lifting, And now just very subtly, see if you can keep that as you bring your palms to the right slightly. And back to center, relax for a moment. And then this is that work we've been doing a lot. So think right there. I'm going to draw back. I'm not going to scoop the tailbone as I lift. I'm just going to use those muscles and then slightly bring the hands to the left. Try not to lose that pressing in at that spot. Good, and then relax. Whew. I hope you felt as much work as I do. It's really interesting work when you can isolate those different areas of your back. So you can do that anytime, just to see if you can really be more in tune to the spine. Now come on up and come to all fours, but come down to your, I'm going to have you step your right knee up and your toes are curled under, and then bring the knee down. So this is called broken toe pose. And then come down to your forearms. And you're just going to think, okay, thoracic spine back, sits bones back and apart, lift the back knee, and maybe even lift the back foot, feeling that. You can keep the toes down if you want to. Keep the hips as low to the heel as you can. So thoracic spine back, sits bones back and apart. You're not scooping. Good, and relax. And let's switch. I'm going to have to I like to come up to my hands to switch. Knee down. Hips stay square, forearms. Think thoracic spine engages, but I'm going to move the sits bones back and apart. And then see if I can keep that and lift the back foot. You're doing it correctly. It should feel really therapeutic. Good, and lower the back foot. Step back, come to all fours on your forearms yet. And I just want you to think of doing cat-cow. Make sure your knees are wide enough. Cat-cow, but just with your lumbar. So think, this is part of that isolation. You're going to keep your thoracic strong. But start with your tail and just a curve in the lumbar. This is very subtle. And then round to cat. Starting with, this is just the lumbar. Kind of like what you were doing on your back with the belt. Keep going. See if you can isolate that spot. Nothing changes in the thoracic spine. You're just strong there and connected. It's just the lumbar spine. Good, and then pause. Come up on your hands, stretch your feet long, and then sit back towards your heels with your arms long. Now I want you to do the same thing. So sits bones stay back, but on the thoracic spine. So think, tuck the chin as you round. You'll feel, and then feel just a subtle movement. The side body should stay long. The cow right there. And then back to cat. Just thinking of where that belt was, and can you feel that pressing into it, pulling away? This is really very subtle work. Good. And then come on up to all fours. Mindfully place your hands, claw the floor. Step back to plank pose. And just pause. Think, can I stay strong in the thoracic but yet keep a little, I'm gonna hug the feet and legs towards each other to keep the sits bones back and apart in plank. Good. Lower your left knee, swivel it as you turn your right foot out, and then very subtly feel everything in your spine. So you want to keep the little curve in your low back. You want to keep the thoracic spine strong, and come to a knee down Vasisthasana. And maybe even lift the foot. Just feel that. See if you can see if you're maintaining all of the connection as you do that. Good, and then step that right foot around as you swivel the left foot back. Come to Anjaneyasana position. So think thoracic spine back, sits bones back and apart. Come on up, Anjaneyasana. Good, lean, keep that. Bring your arms down, lean forward somewhat, and see if you can keep all that as you lift the back knee. Now keep that, so connection in the front, sits bones back and apart, lift to crescent warrior. Good, lean forward. Lower the back knee, just barely touch it down, and come on back up. Think thoracic back, sits bones back and apart, back to crescent warrior. And then lowering the knee, touching the hands down, swivel the foot, step back, Vasisthasana again. Just noticing all those little nuances. And then come on in, back to all fours position. And let's do that on the other side. So you're gonna swivel the right foot, left leg extends, and then just take your time, think, do I have the thoracic spine engaged? Can I keep the sits bones back and apart? Vasisthasana. And then lift the left leg. See if you can notice the little nuances. It's like you're stronger, you're starting a little back bend from right at top, sits bones back and apart. You feel the shoulder blades on the back. Good, now touch down, step the left foot forward, swivel the right foot back in. Very slowly, thinking thoracic spine back, but sits bones back and apart. Anjaneyasana. Good. Bring the arms beside you as you lean forward a little bit. See if you can keep that as you very slowly lift the back knee and come upright, crescent warrior. And we're just going to move through that same action. So lean forward as you lower the knee. Anjaney with that connection. Lean forward. Lift the back knee. Crescent warrior. Going super slow, really feeling connection. And then moving back down, lower the knee, touch down. Swivel the right foot as you step the left foot back. Take your time, think thoracic spine, sits bones back and apart. Open up, Vasisthasana. Maybe lift the leg, maybe not. Feel a little heart opening. Good, and then come on back down. Step back. Downward facing dog. Just pause halfway. I like to pause on my knees to think, okay, I've got the thoracic spine set, sits bones back Move back, 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 back. Find a sweet downward facing dog. Sweet connected downward facing dog. So you feel the rib cage back, but yet you're moving the sits bones back and apart. If you need to keep the knees bent, that's great. Your neck is an extension of your spine. Couple breaths. And then very slowly walk feet up to hands. I always have to bend my knees as I get close. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. And let's just bring the hands up onto the shins. Think thoracic spine connected. Sits bones back and apart. You're hugging the feet and legs towards each other to get that really connected action. And then fold forward again with that. Couple breaths. And then come all the way up, keeping weight right in the middle of the feet. You can feel sits bones on the back, or sits bones back. Good, and then come on up to standing. I'm gonna have you take a wide stance. And bring your hands on your knees. So you're gonna have your knees bent. And then you're gonna think, okay, I'm gonna keep the thoracic spine back. I'm gonna activate the feet and legs to move the sits bones back and apart. So it feels like you're hugging the feet towards each other, but moving the sits bones back and apart, really keeping connection in the thoracic spine. Good, now this is gonna be super subtle. You're gonna keep your hands right where they are. Just from that action in your legs and your low body, you're just gonna twist to your right, very slowly. So thoracic spine's back, sits bones are back and apart. And then come back very slowly so you can really notice all the little subtleties, and twist to the left. And go back to the right very slowly. Think thoracic spine's connected, sits bones back and apart. This is so much work. For me anyway. And come back to center. Think thoracic's back, hugging the feet and legs, using that action. Twist to the left. Good, come back to center. Now you're gonna come up a little bit, turn your right foot out. You're still using those same actions. So, used to be we're gonna go to warrior dog. It used to be I'd just kind of go like that and flop into it. I want you to go super slow. So think thoracic back, hug the feet and legs to get the sits bones back and apart. And then keep that as you slowly bring your hands down and walk them out to a warrior dog. Walk them out a little further. Rib cage back, sits bones back and apart, hugging the feet and legs. Oh, it feels so good. And then very slowly, keep all that as you come back up. Switch sides. I start with both knees bent. I think rib cage back, sits bones back and apart. And see if I can keep that hugging action, really short feet as you slowly lower into that warrior dog. can use blocks here too, or stay up on fingertips, whatever works best for you. Ribcage back, sits bones back and apart, hugging the feet and legs. And then very, very slowly, just as slowly as you came down, you might have to use your leg to slowly come back up. Good, turn both feet forward and step together for a moment. Hopefully that felt really sweet, different, sweet. Good, and I want you to come back to all fours. Place your hands in front of your shoulders. Thoracic spine set. When I say rib cage back, I want you to feel like the shoulder blades are broadening too. So it's not like just a rounding there. They're broadening, it's connection. Good, and then think, okay, with that connection, I'm just gonna move back, lift the knees, hug the feet and legs towards each other as I lift the sits bones back and apart. But keep the thoracic spine really engaged. Make sure your feet are wide enough. Mine were a little bit too close. Good, now extend just the right leg. Bend the knee. See if you lost any of that connection. If you did, reconnect. Think sits bones back and apart. Start a little back bend right at the top of the sacrum and open up to wild dog. Good, and then come back to center. Reconnect. I'm going to have you bring the knee towards you a little bit and then extend the right leg as you lower the left heel down. Left hand comes up. This is called a laying down triangle, fallen triangle. And think thoracics back, hugging feet and legs. I can start that back bend. Good, and then coming back, find a downward facing dog. And just for a moment, take a child's pose. Take a breath or two. So give me an opportunity to put my hair up since I'm sweating. Didn't take long, right? So if you need to take off a layer, please do. Put your hair up, whatever works. And then please make your way back to a downward facing dog. Go slow, think thoracic set, sits bones back and apart as I hug the feet and legs to a really nice connected downward facing dog. It feels like the arm bones are lifting forward and up as the sits bones lift back and up. Keep your neck in line with your spine. Good, now just check, just see. Am I using the thoracic strength? Am I using the strength of the legs and feet? Extend the left leg, bend the knee. Again, think sits bones back and apart, thoracic strong as you open up to wild dog. And very, very slowly coming back to center. Just keep noticing. Bring the knee in towards your nose. A little bit, you're just staying really strong and thoracic, but you're trying to keep the sits bones back and apart. Extend the leg, ground the right heel down, ground the left foot down, and then fallen triangle. Think, do I have this connection? Am I using the feet and legs to keep the sits bones back and apart? Open up, fallen triangle. And then slowly Come on back. Downward facing dog. Take a moment, check yourself. And come on down to your knees. And go ahead and come on up to standing at the front of your mat. Have your blocks handy just in case you need them, just right on either side of your mat. I'm going to try not to use mine. And then stand in Tadasana with your hands at heart center. Think to your, just close your eyes for a moment and breathe. You can even just relax. And then think, okay, rib cage back, bend the knees, hug the feet and legs, sits bones move back and apart. And then come into a connected Tadasana. It feels so different. And standing in Tadasana, you're really connected Tadasana. Take a breath, extend your arms up. And exhale, bring your hands by your hips, lean forward, bend your knees. Shift your weight to your left foot and very, very, very slowly step your right foot back to crescent. Keeping thoracic connected, sits bones back and apart, stretch your arms up, crescent warrior. Exhale, keeping that, hugging the feet, lean forward. Inhale, back to crescent. Go super slow, super connected. Exhale, lean forward again. Thoracics engaged. Sits bones moving back and apart. One more time. Inhale, crescent. This time, arms by your hips. Shift your weight to your left foot again. You're moving to warrior three. So you might have to move super slow. I'm going to keep the knee bent. You can even bring your hands on the front knee if you need to. Think thoracic back, sits bones back and apart. And then very slowly touch it back down. Move back to crescent. Exhale, arms by your hips. Move forward and then just step, shift into your left foot, step, and come into Tadasana. Hands to heart center. Just check, do you have that connected Tadasana with your thoracic spine, sits bones, feet hugging, sits bones back and apart. Shift to your left foot, or I mean your right foot, because you're going to step your left. I have to bend my knees to feel this. Very slowly, lean forward, step the left foot back. Inhale, hugging the feet and legs, moving slowly, extend the arms. Exhale, hands by your hips, lean forward. Sits bones back and apart, thoracic connected. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, lean, arms by your side. Really strong connection. Inhale, crescent. This time you're going to lean forward and move to that warrior three position. So lean forward, think thoracic spine, sits bones back and apart. Shift into your right foot. Lift the left leg. Keep the right knee bent. You can bring your hands on your thigh if that helps, or touch the blocks. Slowly bend back into the front knee, lower the back foot, crescent warrior. Hands by your hips, shift your weight back to your right foot, and step back into connected Tadasana. Hands to heart center. Your hands rest by your side. Inhale, stretch up. I'm hugging my feet and my legs. I'm feeling so much connection. I'm working so hard to fold into Uttanasana. And then step back to downward facing dog. Feel that connected down dog. Inhale, move forward into plank, connected plank. And either lower the knees to lower down or slowly lower to the mat. Now we're working on Cobra. Stretch the feet and legs long. Think thoracic spine connected. I'm going to hug the feet and legs to really feel sits bones back and apart, and then from that curve, lift to Cobra. And slowly lower down. And do that one more time. Think thoracic back, hug feet and legs, get the sits bones back and apart, and then the curve happens all the way up from above that. And lower back down. Downward facing dog. Step your feet to your hands, forward fold. And then please step the right foot back to Anjane position. Lower the knee. Think thoracic spine. Sits bones move back and apart. Stretch up to Anjane Asana. Exhale, hands come by your hips. And as you lean forward, slowly lift the back knee. Whoa. Hugging to the midline. Crescent warrior. Lean forward. And this time, as you hug the feet, straighten the front leg as you come up. Exhale, bend into the front knee. Inhale, lift to crescent warrior. Exhale, lean forward, and as you do, straighten the front leg. Hug the feet, sits bones back and apart. Bend the front knee, crescent warrior. Just check. And then one more time. As you lean forward, stretch the arms back, straighten the front leg. Keep the lean, bend into the front leg. Think, I'm going to keep that and slowly lift warrior three. Good, slowly touch back down. Come up crescent warrior. And lower the back knee as you come down. And step back, downward facing dog. Take a little breather in down dog, but a connected breather, right? Step the feet to the hands, forward fold. Step the left foot back, deep lunge. Lower the back knee. Inhale, stretch up, connected, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, lean forward. Press into the front foot, hover the back knee. Inhale, come to crescent warrior. Exhale, lean forward. Hug, sits bones back and apart. Straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend the front knee, crescent warrior. Exhale, arms back, hug to the midline, straighten the front leg. Connected, thoracic. One more time, crescent. This time as you hug to the midline, bring the arms beside you. Shift the weight to your right leg. See how connected you can stay. Lift to warrior three. Slowly bending the knee, touching it back down. Crescent warrior. And exhale, touch everything down. Swing the, actually just stay here for a moment. I forgot. I want you to go, we're gonna do a kind of a really intense pigeon prep. So you're gonna walk your right foot to the middle of your mat now. Walk your fingertips forward a little bit. And think thoracic connection, sits bones back and apart and lift the back knee. Good, now slowly, hugging the feet and legs, keeping the sits bones back and apart, just slowly open the right knee. So think thoracic, sits bones back and apart, hugging the feet, open the knee. You're not gonna get the knee all the way down, it's just an action, but you're using all that connection. The inside edge of your foot is lifted. You can't see mine, but I'm hugging to get the sits bones back and apart. I'm keeping the thoracic really connected. And maybe I open a little more. Good, and then come on back. Lower the back knee. Step back to switch sides. Whew. Left foot forward, right in the middle. Walk the hands forward. Think thoracic back, sits bones back and apart. Hug the feet and legs. It's easier to start with the knee on the ground and then you can lift the knee, or you can leave it there if it's too intense. And then just slowly, with that action, start working the knee open. I'm trying to get the sits bones back and apart. I don't know if you can see that. If I keep my knees really hugging towards the midline, not the knees, but the feet, the legs. And then slowly come on back, lower the knee, step back to all fours. Just walk forward on your mat, curl the toes under, and then push back to a Malasana position. Your feet might turn out a little bit and think to yourself, thoracic, Sits bones back and apart to get that long spine, and then maybe fold a little bit. You can see I'm really hugging my feet and my legs towards each other. And then I can fold. Good, and then go ahead and come on down to a seated position. I'm gonna have you grab your blanket. We're gonna do all the rest of this work on our blankets. So sit on our triangle corner, just like we've been doing. And we're gonna do Janu Shirshasana first. So extend the right leg and bring your left foot in. Now, if this is too intense for you, feel free to just keep the legs extended. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna adjust this so you can see a little better. So I'm still on the blanket. I'm gonna inner spiral my legs. And then I'm gonna pause and think, okay, thoracic spine stays back and connected, but I'm gonna use the strength of my feet, legs to get the sits bones back and apart. So it's a lot of work. You feel a lot of work in your legs and feet, right? And then keeping that, you're just gonna twist and face your outstretched leg. Especially this hip, you have to really work to keep it back and apart. And then maybe you'll slowly fold over it. I bring my hand to the outside of the shin and then reconnect and maybe slowly fold. And come on back up. Oh, it feels really yummy. Switch sides. Still on your blanket. It helps, I think, to really be able to feel the sits bones back and apart. Connect with this thoracic. Move the sits bones back and apart. Turn towards your outstretched leg. And slowly fold. Just keep thinking, sits bones back and apart, thoracic's connected, and then maybe reach to the outside of the shin or the foot. The hardest part for me is to keep breathing. I have so much going on. And then slowly come on back up. Now extend, you're still in your blanket, extend both legs forward. Bend your right knee. Mirror you. Interlace in front of your shin. And then do the work. So think thoracic, spine back, sits bones back and apart. And when you do this, feel how you really lengthen up to try and get that action in this position. And then slowly twist. So think again, thoracic's back, sits bones move back and apart, and then I can slowly twist. So from clear down there, right above the sacrum, I'm starting there and then slowly twist all the way up. Takes a lot of effort to keep everything in a good alignment. Good, and then slowly come back to center. Now we're gonna switch directions. So you're gonna turn away from the bent knee. Hug it first. Think thoracic, sits bones back and apart, and then twist. And maybe bring the elbow around the front of the shin and wrap it. Now if you can do that and you can keep sits bones back and apart, maybe find your choice. If you're a little higher, sometimes this bind feels good. I'm really hugging my legs and feet towards each other to get the sits bones back and apart. My thoracic is connected. And then it feels like a nice, safe twist. Good, and then unwind. Yay! Switch sides. Hug. Round, up, back to get the connection. Keep that as you then use the strength of your feet and legs to get the sits bones back and apart, and then twist. Start at the base of the spine and slowly feel the twist working all the way up the spine. I'm really hugging my feet and my legs to keep that action. And then slowly come back to center. And now we'll twist the opposite direction. So set up first, just to feel it, and then twist away from your leg. If you want to do the bind, you can. I really have to keep focusing. Sits bones back and apart. Thoracic is protected. And then I twist. And then slowly unwind. Oh, that feels awesome. Now we're going to go back to the first position. So Janu Shirshasana. Your right leg's going to be extended. Left leg in. And this time I'm going to have you bend the knee. And just see how this feels. And just play with it. Think thoracic back, sits bones back and apart. And then lean forward and bring this leg over your upper arm. And then again, think thoracic, sits bones back and apart. And then plant this right hand down. Reach across with your left and find the little toe side of the foot. You'll have to lift the toes up. And again, just check. Thoracic back, sits bones back and apart. And then see, maybe you can extend that leg. Sits bones back and apart. Thoracic connected. Open up and release it. Ooh. Awesome, sundial pose. Very intense. Let's switch sides. Knee bent. I'm still on my blanket, by the way. Thoracic back, sits bones back and apart. Hands walk forward. You're on the, lift the toes so that you can get that arm underneath. So you're on the upper arm. Reach across. Just pause, think thoracic, sits bones back and apart. Perhaps you can lift the foot. Sits bones back and apart. Thoracic is so connected. Good, and unwind. Very slowly. You want all this to unfold slowly and come out slowly. A lot of times we'll just fall out. So just go slowly, no matter what you're doing. Go ahead and come on down to your backs. Laying on your back, just take note. All the work you've been doing, you can feel it. Bring your feet wide. Think thoracic back, sits bones back and apart. Here, even here you can work it, right? And then bring both knees to the right. So I feel connection here. I'm still trying to get the sits bones back and apart. It feels so therapeutic on my back, on my hips, on my legs. My legs are hugging. Good, come on back up. Relax for a moment. You can let the knees just kind of come together in the middle. And then switch sides, so both knees up, thoracic back, sits bones back and apart, and then knees go to the left side. Oh, that feels good. Sits bones back and apart, hugging the feet and legs. Good, and come on back to center. Wiggle the feet close together, and then let the soles of the feet come together, knees open wide. And then pause, just notice that. Feels pretty good. And then I'm going to have you add in the work. So now the thoracic goes back, but I'm going to try and maintain a curve in the low back. I'm going to press the feet and legs, feet into each other, and move the legs wider. Hug the feet towards you. Good, and then relax. Bring the knees up, and you guessed it, stretch out into Shavasana. One way of slowing down no matter what you're doing, no matter if you're doing yoga, no matter if you're spending time with a friend, you want to slow things down. Just take a moment to pay attention to your senses. We'll start with your sense of sight. What do you see on the back of your eyelids? And move to your sense of hearing. And move to your sense of smell. And moving on to your sense of taste. And then last but not least, move to your sense of touch. Just notice your body touching the floor, all those connection points. Perhaps notice the air on your skin, the air against your skin. Notice if there's any air movement across the skin. then even notice the sense of touch as the air moves in and out of your lungs and throat and sinuses. Allow everything to slow down. Allow the heart rate to slow. Allow the breath rate to slow. Just be one with all of your senses. Allow time to just slow down. Please begin to just slowly float back on your breath. Just slowly come back to the surface. And when you feel ready, begin to make small movements, wiggling fingers, toes, perhaps your head. Eventually drawing the knees in, rolling to the right side. And pushing on up to a seated position. Slowing down just makes things much sweeter. Doesn't mean that you don't get as much done. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I think when you remember to slow down that you get even more out of each experience. Just wanted to close with a blessing from Julia Cameron. My life is blessed by grace, which acts with its own timing. In times of frustration, in times of fear, as loss and difficulty surround me, I release my plans and outcomes to the larger plans and outcomes unfolding for my benefit. Letting go of my insistence on immediate gratification, I slow down, I relax into the better working out of details and dimensions hidden from my view. Affirming that all works for the good of all, if I open to the grace of cooperation, I open my heart to God's timing, God's wisdom, God's working out of gentle benefits for all. And please bring hands to heart center. Thank you all so much for practicing with me about the beautiful light in each of you. Namaste. Thanks, guys.